Hey guys, we are back with more Kingston Frontenacs franchise mode in Eastside Hockey Manager, and in this one we're going to continue the simulation, but before we do, I want to take a look at some coaches, because Curtis Foster, our current head coach, is more of a defensive coach, and I feel like we have an offensive style of play, and I feel like if we got an offensive coach, that would help us out a lot more than Curtis Foster is, as he prefers a patient and defensive style of play. Whereas if we got an attacking kind of coach, that might help us out a bit more. Now, one guy who we are going to be firing is David Franco as well. We have no more use for him, as we do have Gerald Grant, who is also a goalie coach, and Grant also has that tactical knowledge, so there's no use for David Franco here, as his only good attribute is coaching goaltenders. So we are going to be firing him right now. And there is an assistant coach who I would like to go after, who isn't really an assistant coach, but he's willing to accept the job as an assistant coach. That would be Adam Graves. He's technically looks like a team owner because it has him as a businessman here. However, if we go to approach to sign, we can sign him as an assistant coach, and for pretty cheap too. He has a 99 for player ability and potential. And the reason that's important for right now is because none of our coaches really have the ability to judge players. And that is because it's not really a necessary stat. The reason it's helpful in our situation is they give you accurate reports when you request a coach's report on a player. And not only is he good at doing that, but he's good at coaching forwards. He has a great mental category as well, working with youngsters 70. Motivating is at 95. Level of discipline and adaptability also at 99. So we are going to be signing Adam Graves here. We're going to give him a little bit more money since he's a businessman. Give him a little bit of incentive to sign with us as an assistant coach. There you go. So Adam Graves has been offered. Now, one other guy. Todd McClellan is available as a head coach. So should it come down to it, I would like to replace Curtis Foster, if possible, with Todd McClellan, as he prefers an attacking style of play, and he's obviously a really good coach in terms of his attributes. However, we don't have the kind of money to sign him. He expects a total wage of $1.38 million over 4 years. That would require an average wage of $345,000 per year. We can only offer him $139,000. Now, what we can do, give him a signing bonus of $498,000. So I'm hoping that it will work for Todd McClellan. But for right now, even if we don't get McClellan, I'm pretty certain we'll be able to get Graves. And one other guy I wanted to show you guys just because of his name. Frank. Brilliant. Anyway, we are going to offer Todd McClellan as a head coach here, just to see if he'll accept, because obviously, if he doesn't accept, then he doesn't accept. But if he does, then we have the option to fire Curtis Foster and then bring McClellan on board. Or, even if we don't want to hire McClellan, then we can always cancel the offer. So there's really no loss in offering him a contract. So let's see if he accepts. If he does, that'd be amazing. We'd bring him on board instantly. And let's hope he and Graves agree to come to the Kingston Frontenacs, as we desperately need their help. I wouldn't imagine that Graves will reject. Graves should accept right away, but I'm worried about McClellan for sure. So that's about it, honestly. The only reason, again, that I wanted to do that is to facilitate the growth of Connor Lockhart, as he is an offensive player. I don't think he'll benefit much from a defensive system, especially in the OHL, which you kind of focus a little bit more on offense in the OHL. So I would like to get him to become that top 10 forward potential or top 10 draft pick potential that he has. Obviously, he has a couple of years to do it, but there's no sense in wasting any time. So we're just going to keep simulating here and see if we get those coaches. And we'll also, of course, simulate up to the game against Sault Ste. Marie. OHL Player of the Month is Cameron Hillis of Gulf. The rookie of the month is Philip Broberg of Hamilton. McClellan rejects Kingston. That's what I thought. So I'm going to see if we can negotiate here. Yeah, there's nothing that we can do to get McClellan. He's just... It's unrealistic in terms of the amount of money we can offer him. So McClellan, unfortunately, is not going to be on board. However, we could still get Adam Graves. There we go. Speaking of which, Adam Graves ready for a Kingston role, except that, and you know what, he might even be good as a head coach, who knows. So we might be able to move him as our head coach, maybe make Foster an assistant. But here we go, game against Sault Ste. Marie, and that will be a 6-3 win against Sault Ste. Marie. Goals by Lockhart, Wisdom, Vaughn, DeRungs, Lockhart, and Martin. So Lockhart with a 3-point game. He had a secondary assist on the Vaughn goal. So maybe we keep Curtis Foster since we got the win there. But it's good that we have Adam Graves on board now, so he could start coaching our forwards. He can give us accurate reports on everyone. So we're going to test that out here. We're going to request a coach's report from Adam Graves on Connor Lockhart. So let's see what he says. Graves urges you to keep hold of young, deadly winger Connor Lockhart, as he is certainly a player who has a great future at the team, I would imagine. Now let's see what someone such as, who is the worst player ability and player potential grading? Curtis Foster. He definitely has a bad grade there. So let's see what Curtis Foster says about Connor Lockhart. So he says, deadly winger Connor Lockhart is a player of immense quality who should be given the time to develop his fantastic ability. However, he shows fantastic talent 1 minute and shows nothing the next. His inconsistency is infuriating. So Curtis Foster says he's inconsistent, but Adam Graves doesn't have anything bad to say about him. So when it comes down to Graves versus Foster, I'm going to trust Graves' report before Foster's, as he has the 99 for both player ability and potential. Also good news, Rory Cairns is back from injury, so we'll get Pringle out of there as he has a 550 average rating. That's not good. Get Cairns back in. Ask coach, there you go, fill in there on the third line for right now. Dugas is still in there. How many games in a row has he played? He hasn't played he's only played 3 games in a row because, that's right, he came back from injury, so we'll leave him in there. Tobias Pelletier out for 10 days with a neck strain. That's unfortunate. Also, since we now have Adam Graves, who is good at coaching forwards, there is no reason to hold on to John Goodwin, I don't think, as his only other attribute is determination at 84, and he isn't involved in practice, so we can terminate his contract. And Luca Caputi, I think, is expendable at this point as well, because tactical knowledge, we have Joe Grant for that now. And again, he's, other than tactical knowledge, does not have any kind of overwhelming attribute that would affect our simulation in a positive way. So we're going to be firing him as well. So now we're down to 4 coaches, but each of them does something important in practice. So we are keeping Foster, Grant, Bear, and Graves. And that is going to be a 5-8 or 8-5 loss against the Erie Otters. So Aguano, Baker, Andrechuk, Aguano again, and Constantinu with the goals. Lockhart with an assist. But nonetheless, that is a loss. Bad loss against the Erie Otters. You don't like to see that. Oh my goodness. Anthony Aguano injured for 10 days with skate bite. You really don't like to see that. Oh, these injuries, man. Especially to our defenseman. Marino injured for 2 weeks. Oh my goodness. Defenseman going down left and right all of a sudden. Karen's defense player, he's been good. Yep, fans pay tribute. Very nice. Jeez, look at all this. We're down to 5 defensemen now. Constantino, Gordon, Anderson, Murray, and Evan Brandt. Is Pelletier back? Not yet. So we're going to have to address it forward on defense then. We'll try Callaway Mercer. He hasn't dressed yet. So let's see what the assistant coach comes up with. McDougal's going to be on D. Lockhart's still the second line center. Pachia's in there. Okay, game against North Bay, and this is gonna be a 4-0 loss. Yikes! Is that Cal Davis? No, I was gonna say that's not Cal Davis. He's overage, but still. Ooh, 4-0 loss. That hurts. especially against North Bay. They were a pretty bad team last year, so I'd imagine they're still kind of bad. So on top of all the injuries, Emmett Gordon is suspended from a 3-game match penalty. Oh my goodness, we're down to 4 defensemen. Hey, that's not good. We'll dress Drew Witt now. Oh my goodness. Yep, Cairns and McDougall are now playing D. So we're gonna get Pachia out of there. He didn't do too well. The team wasn't too confident in front of him. We'll get Dugas back in, and he can play against Ottawa. All right, good. Tobias Pelletier is back, and we will definitely have to get him in there with the amount of injuries and then the suspension that we have as well. So we'll take, I guess Drew Witt's coming back out, and Dugas is back in. All right, game against Ottawa, who are 14-5-1. This should be a good test, and that is going to be a 3-2 shootout loss. Not too bad. Lockhart and Golovachev with the goals. Martin with the shootout goal. All right, game against Ottawa once again. They're 15-5-1, and we get a win this time. 3-2 victory. Golovachev, McDougall, and Lockhart with the goals once again. So, not bad. I will definitely take that over Ottawa. They're a good team. Game against North Bay. That will be a 3-0 loss. Oh my goodness, North Bay seems to have our number when it comes to goal scoring. We can't solve them. Okay, so Anthony Aguano is back from injury, and Emma Gordon is no longer suspended. So we'll take Evan Brand out. We'll get Gordon in and Aguano in as well. And as far as forwards go, Zayd Wisdom hasn't been great. Callaway Mercer doesn't have any points. We'll take Wisdom out, and we'll see what the coach does. So it's going to have Lockhart there once again. Cairns at third-line center. So Vaughn's been consistent as our first-line center all year, it looks like. And Dugas, how many games does he play in a row? 3. We'll get him back in. Game against Sudbury. That will be a 7-2 victory. There you go, boys. DeRungs, Vaughn, Lockhart, Golovachev, DeRungs, and Lockhart with the goals. And there you go. That's I believe that is a 2-goal game for Lockhart. Yes, indeed. He has 11 goals on the season so far. He's looking very good. Game against Saginaw, the second place Saginaw Spirit, and that will be a 4-3 loss against them. Goes by DeRungs, Lockhart once again, and Bernie. Lockhart with an assist, Iguana with 2, and unfortunately that's a loss for the Kingston Frontenacs, but at least our studs are getting points, so that you can't really complain about that, but I would like to see a better team performance all around. Noah Marino is back as well from injury. Our Pelletier has been playing better than him, so we will leave him as a healthy scratch. Game against Peterborough, and this will be a 6-3 loss. Goes by Golovachev, DeRungs, and Gordon. Player of the month is Anthony Aguano of your Kingston Frontenacs. The rookie of the month is Christian Sparaglia of Niagara. And game against Hamilton, that is going to be a 4-3 victory for your Kingston Frontenacs. Goes by Mercer, Vaughn, Golovachev, and Martin for the 4-3 victory. Very nice. All right, so we're on December 1st now. Let's take a look at the stats. So we'll check goaltenders first. Goalie stats. So 719 average rating for Ryan Dugas. As expected, he is our best goaltender so far this year. Pachia with an 852. Taylor with an 828. That's to be expected. He's only 15. Get him used to the flow of the game. But Dugas is still by far our best goaltender. Defenseman, of course, Anthony Aguano with 20 points in 20 games played. 750 average rating. Billy Constantino with 9 and 24. 679 average rating, and then 659, 657, 650, 643, 631, and a 573. As you go down the list, Constantino, Anderson, Pelletier, Murray, Gordon, Marino, and Brand. In terms of points, Aguano leads with 20, then Gordon with 14, Constantino with 9, Anderson with 7, Murray with 6, Marino with 3, Pelletier with 1, and Brand with nothing. Forwards, average ratings, Ian DeRungs with 746, Ian Martin with a 725. Bernie with a 721. 717 for Denis Golovachev. 679 for Cameron Hugh. 675 for Nick Vaughn. A 654 for Dawson Baker. A 646 for Connor Lockhart. 642 for Andrzejczyk and McDougall. 638 for Callaway Mercer. 615 for Zayd Wisdom. A 614 for Rory Cairns. And a 550 for Justin Pringle. Point-wise, DeRungs with the most points, 25. Lockhart, 23. Martin and Vaughn, 20. Bernie with 18. Cairns with 14. Golovachev with 13. Hugh with 10. Baker with 8. Andrzejczyk with 5. 4 for McDougall. 3 for Wisdom. And 1 for Mercer. So where we are in the standings, we are 9th in the Eastern Conference. We're 3 points behind Mississauga and Hamilton. So it looks like it's a bit closer of a race between 9th and even 4th, to be honest. North Bay is only 5 points ahead. So it's definitely possible we can make the playoffs this year. But we cannot afford to drop too many games. So the good news is that our power play is insane. 28.6%. But our penalty kill on the flip side is 72.9. So I think we're going to need to set the practice here. We're only practicing power play 20% of the time, penalty kill 30% of the time. So I do want to set a bit more of that to be in the penalty kill. We'll set general to 45, penalty kill to 35. And Curtis Foster should not be conditioning. That is Ray Bear. Foster isn't exactly getting us up to that next step, which would be within a playoff position. So we'll go one more month, I think, and then we're going to have to evaluate things from there. Game against Hamilton once again, and we have a 5-4 victory. Andrzejczyk, Murray, Lockhart again, and DeRungs with the goals. Lockhart with an assist. Iguana with an assist. Not a bad game. Game against Sarnia, they are 7-16-3. Come on, boys, easy dub. Barely an easy dub. 8-7 shootout victory against Sarnia. My goodness. So Martin, Hugh, Golovachev, DeRungs, Cairns, Hugh, and McDougall with the goals. And it goes to a shootout. Iguano, Martin, and Constantinu with the shootout goals. Constantinu has been injured for 10 days. Jeez. 7-day IR for you. And we're going to have to get... May as well be Marino back in. Let's do best lines. Pachia probably hasn't played in a while. Well, actually, he played that game, but he didn't play the whole game. So we'll get him in there for a bit, see what he can do. And a game against Oshawa. That's going to be a 5-4 loss against Oshawa. Lockhart, Mercer, Bernie, and Vaughn with the goals. Lockhart also with an assist. So the good news is that we are currently in a playoff spot. But for how long, right? It's probably, I would imagine, within a couple of points of being 4th and being 10th. Let's actually see up here. Yeah, we're already down back in 9th. So, yeah, it's a close race. It looks like very, very close race outside of the top 3 for sure. So we definitely need to take advantage of that. Game against Niagara. Big game. Oh, 8-3 loss against them. Lockhart, DeRungs, and Martin with the goals. But still a pretty bad loss to Niagara. And I would imagine part of that is due to the fact of Mario Pachia being in net. And yes, it is. So we're going to get Dugas back in. Because clearly Pachia has not been great. Actually, I'm going to get Dean Taylor in there because Pachia has just been awful recently. So we'll get Taylor in the backup role and see if he can do something productive. Game against Ottawa. And, oh, hold on. We're only allowed to, what is that? Dress 5 underage players. Only 4 are allowed. Okay. So, yikes. That means we can't put in Taylor. Or we have to... okay. So I guess we'll put Pachia back in. That sucks. I really wanted to get Taylor some time, but makes sense. So game against Ottawa. That's going to be a 6-1 victory against the Ottawa 67s. Very nice, boys. Very nice. They're in second, I believe, as well. Bernie, Mercer, Hugh, Anderson, Golovich, Havana, Guano with the goals. Lockhart with an assist. So our boy's getting on the board, even when he's not scoring goals. So that's good. Game against Barry. Here we go. That's going to be a 5-4 loss against them. Martin, Bernie, Martin, and McDougall with the goals. Once again, Lockhart with an assist. But not a good game there against Barry. Understandable, they're in second. But you would have liked to see a win there for sure. As obviously the gap between 4th and 10th isn't that much, as we've seen. So another game against Barry here. And let's see that's going to be. That's going to be a 2-1 loss this time. So a defensive game. We get the first goal, Martin. But then Foodie and Rhodes for Barry give them the win. And we are now in 9th. Game against Peterborough, they're in first. That's going to be a rough 5-2 loss. So I can't really blame any of these losses on Dugas here, as all the past 3 games have been against first or second place teams. But again, you still would want to see at least a win in there just to show some promise. But no, we couldn't get it. Couldn't get it done against those teams. So Anthony Aguano has been selected by Canada for their U20 roster for the World Junior Championships. Not bad. Bjorn Fought, Anderson, we don't care about those guys. They're not going to sign with us. Dean Taylor injured now as well. Feel sorry for all these guys. They're just getting injuries nonstop in practice. Marino suffers injury. I mean, it's just nonstop here with this game. DeRong suffers a 3-week injury, hip flexor strain, 24-day IR. Oh my goodness. Murray accused of complacency. It's so much, dude. Defend player, Murray request move. No, you're not escaping the media spotlight if you're going somewhere else. Let's be honest. It's the OHL. You're not really in the spotlight now, are you? Oh my goodness. Yeah, Marino out. Brand in. Jeez. DeRong's out. Put Wisdom back in. Aguano in Canada U20 game beat Czech Republic 4-3. Aguano played an okay game, logging 7:24 of ice time +1. Game against Peterborough. They are first place. We are 9th. Come on, boys. 6-2 loss. Martin and Lockhart with the goals. But then it was pretty much all Peterborough. And we are back to 10th now. So didn't really see much improvement in this month, unfortunately. We have a couple more games left against London, I believe I saw. Yep, here we get game against London. Let's see what happens. That's going to be a 3-2 shootout win for the London Knights. Goals by Lockhart and Gordon, but Rowe and Pierce get the goals in comeback fashion for the London Knights. And then London wins it in the shootout. I believe we have one more game this month, and that should do it for 2019. Yeah, against Oshawa. So here we go. Oshawa, this is an important game. If Oshawa wins this game, then I don't know what to say. They're 14-20-3. We're 14-17-3. Come on, boys. Get a win here. Oh my god. 4-2 loss. Cairns and Lockhart with the goals. Pelletier with 2 assists. But nonetheless, yet another loss. And it was against the 10th place team in the Oshawa Generals. So we are now in 10th. That's a yikes. That is a huge yikes. This was supposed to be a good year for your Kingston Frontenacs, or at least a better year. But so far, not looking like it. We started out great, but we haven't won much since then. As you take a look at our schedule, loss, 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 loss. We're on a 6-game losing streak right now. There's a win, loss, loss, win, shootout, win, win. So we were good there for those couple of games. Then going back to November, loss, loss, win, loss, win, loss, 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 win. So we've done a lot more losing this episode than we've done winning. And I think it is time to fire Curtis Foster and replace him with Adam Graves as the head coach, as Adam Graves does prefer an attractive attacking style of play, and that is the style of play that I want, at least for guys that we are going to be developing for the NHL. Now, where would we get a different defensive coach instead of Curtis Foster? I don't know, but we're going to take a look at that right now, because this ship needs to turn around pretty soon if it's going to turn around. So we're going to take a look for defensive coaches. Okay, so we're going to try to get this guy, Randy Hillier. He's got a good coaching defenseman, 76, technical knowledge, 66, and working with youngsters is at 65. So we'll approach to sign him. He's not that expensive either, so we'll definitely approach to sign him. And we are going to promote Adam Graves to be our head coach. Give him a little bit of incentive there. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of money to sign him, at least in terms of his salary. So we'll give him more signing bonus for sure. All right, there you go. We'll see if he accepts that. And if he does, then Curtis Foster, goodbye. So we're going to simulate a couple of days here, just until we know if Graves is on board with being the head coach. And then we'll end off the episode. OHL Player of the Month is Blake Murray of Sudbury, and the Rookie of the Month is Philip Broberg of Hamilton. Murray ranked by Scouting Services. He is 43rd in the draft rankings. But as we all know, in this game, the draft could go any way at any time. That's more than likely not where he goes in the draft. So Noah Marino is back, and Constantino is also back. Dean Taylor is back as well. And Randy Hillier is on board. Welcome to Kingston. And game against Oshawa, that's going to be a 4-2 win. Okay. Gordon, Bernie, Hugh, and Golovichev with goals. And we're still, regardless of that win, trying to fire Curtis Foster. But we're waiting on the decision of Adam Graves. Game against Mississauga, that's a 4-2 loss. Golovichev with 2 goals, but Mississauga scores 4 on us. Game against Niagara, that is a 3-2 loss in overtime. Martin and Cairns with the goals, but Harris with the goal for Niagara in overtime, and we're still in 10th. So Graves rejects the contract offer, so he does not want to be our head coach. So that's unfortunate. Is there anyone else who we could make our head coach who doesn't cost that much but is also better than Curtis Foster? Okay, so we're going to try to get Bernie Castle from Bridgeport here as a head coach, and looks like we can offer him. Yeah, we'll give him $140,000 per year, $1,000 signing bonus. See if we could get him on board as our new head coach. And Castle ready for a Kingston role. Now this means we are going to have to fire Curtis Foster in order to get him on board. So that's what we're going to do. Foster, you are fired. Alright, so Castle's now officially on board, and maybe we can start winning with your Kingston Frontenacs. Before we end it off, we're going to check the stats once more. Goalie stats, yeah, not much new here. Dugas is our best goaltender, .885 save percentage, compared to .841 and .828. Defenseman, Iguano, .750 average rating. Everyone else is below a 7. And Iguano has 26 points. Gordon with 21. Anderson 17. Murray with 10. Constantino 9. Marino and Pelletier with 4. Forwards, DeRungs and Martin and Bernie and Golovichev all above a 7. Hugh, Vaughn, Mercer, and McDougall all between a 7 and 650. Baker, Andrechuk, Lockhart, Wisdom, and Cairns all between a 650 and a 6. And then Pringle is at a 550. Now, point-wise, Martin, 36 points. Lockhart, 35. DeRungs, 31. Bernie and Vaughn, 28. Golovichev, 22. Hugh and Cairns, 19. McDougall, 11. Baker, 10. Andrechuk, 9. Mercer, 6. And Wisdom with 4. Now, hopefully, all of that will change with our new head coach, Bernie Castle. So that'll about do it for this one. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.